It's 25 years of media excellence. Hello there, welcome to Newsnight. In the next 60 minutes, tonight's government's claim of achieving 85% target at making Accra the cleanest city in Africa continues to draw various reactions. We'll hear from the water and sanitation NGOs, CONIWAS, which is disputing the claims.
It will be difficult for us to believe that all of a sudden we can move to 85%. I don't think that we are anywhere near in terms of achieving the president's vision.
Independent presidential candidate Kofi Kranting is also questioning the basis for the promise in the first place. We'll hear more from the man who wants to lead a country. He has been locked out of due to border closure as we warm up to the Imani Ghana Enjoy News presidential debate this Thursday.
Also tonight, comprehensive investigations by joint police and military team underway to establish how hand grenades were stashed away at La Beach after they exploded, injuring 4 children.
It means that it calls for further investigation to find out whether indeed something is happening that we're not aware.
Also tonight, police arrest 10 people after a standoff with residents of Teshi who attacked the Chief's Palace for allegedly calling off this year's festival. We hear from residents who are divided on how to observe this year's Homo War.
And then later, President Akufo-Addo announces the recruitment of over 90,000 temporary health and allied staff, describing his record in the health sector as unmatched.
Our record to this end is unmatched. Upon my assumption of office in 2017, we started recruiting doctors, nurses, pharmacists, allied health professionals.
And in business, Cocoa Board targets 100,000 metric tons production for next year.
We have that and more here in tonight's edition of Newsnight. Please join us with your thoughts and comments via WhatsApp. It's 0244340437. Also on Facebook, you can leave your comments there. Evans, you're watching us live, so they can leave their comments there as well. I am Emefa, Apawu.
My name is Mensah. Of course, you're live here on your election headquarters on Joy 99.7 FM.
One of the promises for which the government was put into power, and in fact one of the ones we got earlier, was to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa by 2020.
During the lockdown.
Yes. And how far would that promise?
I will give it 85% because at the end of the day, you all saw the 100% we did during the lockdown. So who makes Accra this? That's why we are every day sensitizing people.
So you think you are 85% fulfilled?
I'm telling you, I know you will face it, and I insist.
That is the Sanitation Minister, Cecilia Abnadapa, seeking to join News' PSC Nanaya Asafo earlier today, claiming that government has achieved 85% of its target at making Accra the cleanest city in Africa in 4 years. Now, this claim has drawn various public reactions, and tonight the Coalition for NGOs in Water and Sanitation, CONIWAS, they've reacted to the comment saying that government lacks a blueprint to make the vision possible, and Accra is nowhere near the set figures as pointed by the Minister. Atahin is a program coordinator. He joins us on the phone. We're grateful for your time here on Newsnight. So what other evidence do you have besides what the sanitation minister has put out today? She's saying that 85%. In fact, during the lockdown, she claims that we had 100% of the target in terms of making Accra the cleanest city in Africa. Why are you disputing these claims?
Thank you very much. Good evening to your listeners. When I first heard the minister, I thought that she was pushed to make this statement, and she made it jokingly. But if we are to go by the 85%, I will say that there has been no systematic assessment done to confirm this 85%. I don't know the set of indicators that the minister for the ministry used in arriving at this. But as far as I'm concerned, there has not been any strategic plan developed. There's not been a program of action. We do not know the roadmap. And so we don't even have the indicators to be able to measure. So maybe the minister or the ministry should be able to supply us with the indicators they use to arrive at 85. But let me indicate that yes, of course, some very positive developments happened during the lockdown and during the restrictions. The increased distribution of things, the cleanup exercises intensified, the beautification of the city. Yes, these things happened. But that should tell you that these measures were not sustainable. Because if you achieve 100%, and then just after the lockdown, you can count down to 85, that should even tell you that, we don't have a sustainable plan. But in a city where you have 22% of the population defecating, where you have 25% of the population in public toilets, where only 21% has access to toilet facilities, and where only about 70% of your waste is properly collected, thanks to the efforts of the service providers, I'm not too sure that any reasonable assessment can conclude and give you 85%. It doesn't work like that.
Well, but I'm glad you say that you would like to be furnished with the figures or in terms of the indicators in the blueprint. But if not 85%, like you're saying, where will you put it in terms of figures?
It will be difficult because we are not assessing the entire sanitation sector. That would have been easy for me to do. But we are dealing with a specific project, a specific vision of the president. And we expected that, right away, the ministry would have moved into action, some plans with some funding allocated for this and all that. But we didn't see that. It would be difficult for me to just give a figure. That would be guesswork. And I don't want to do that. Maybe now that you have prompted us, we may want to do an independent assessment of what percentage we will give for the achievement of this vision. And I promise you that we'll take this up, and when we come to our findings, we all will be able to know what the figure is. But I won't be able to, put a percentage to the achievement of this vision. Right from
but normally in assessing stuff like this, what indicators would you normally be looking at in making a judgment whether a city is indeed as clean as it's been projected?
Very good. And so, first of all, I, for example, want to find out, even from the policy level, whether there's been a blueprint, whether there's been a strategy developed, whether financing has been allocated for this. Then you can now come to staffing. Which people have been allocated or dedicated for the prosecution of this vision. Now you have to look at waste management. What is the situation of waste management in the capital, for example? What is the percentage of people defecating in the open in the capital city? Has it reduced? Has it gone up? How many people now have access to improved toilet facilities? Without doing this kind of assessment, you cannot just by a second just put up 85%. It has to be interrogated. The indicators will have to be interrogated. But I doubt whether there are indicators that have been assessed.
So, in short, the evidence on the ground does not back the claims that are being made, especially by the sanitation minister.
For me, I think that should be a fair conclusion. The evidence on the ground does not support 85% achievement of this vision.
We're grateful for your time. That's Mr. Atahin. He is with the coalition of NGOs in water and sanitation.
Well, the minister, of course, was in Mamobi today to, of course, supervise and lead the cleanup exercise there. The community members appreciate this initiative, but they've been talking to us about the need for a public toilet facility in that area to deal with open defecation, which they claim still persist. They told my colleague PC Nanaya Osafo that there's only one public toilet in that area, but it's been locked up because of a political tussle between the NPP and the NDC.
Any public toilet too. And see, I'm away. Maybe I have 2 years. I'm on a toilet. The public toilet to a friend NDC. I'm out for more close. MP for by now. Almost see the ama papa be or MP almost see the man.
He tells me that they used to have a public toilet facility in this community that they affectionately called NDC. No particular reason attached to that. But since the current government came into power, some faithfuls or some alleged faithfuls of the MPP have shut down the public toilet facility.
We are really suffering because we don't have a public toilet here. So more than a year now. So the boys here, everybody is going in here to, ease themselves.
And that's why I'm asking, but you're a woman. A woman has certain needs. What do you ease yourself?
It's really bad. I can't even tell because I'm even shy to say it.
Public toilet that we have is only one, but someone is claiming that the toilet belongs to him, which is not fair. You see, the public toilet is for the community. It's not for somebody. You see, the NDC era, the assemblyman of this area, like he is in charge of the toilet because he is the assemblyman. That's the assemblyman, the former assemblyman. So which is like now that they've doing the election because that is like the MPP person is now on. So they don't wanna hand over the toilet to him.
So some residents of Mamobida interacting with PSC Nanaya Asafo. Now, independent presidential candidate Kofi Kranting is also questioning the basis for the promise by government in the first place.
If you don't have the facts and the resources, then you cannot even begin to say you're going to be able to fix the problem. It's not something that you just get up and say you're going to fix the problem. You got to have the facts. We don't have the data points to be able to make that decision at this point. We know the consciousness to fixing it means, yes, we're going to have a distribution line of garbage collection. We have to really put everything underground in terms of sewer, in terms of garbage. We need to have merchants who use plastic pay more. We need to levy them for paying more using non-biodegradable receptacles for food, because that's the biggest problem. That's where the biggest problem is. We need to stop the importation of garbage into our country.
That's an independent presidential candidate, Kofi Kranting. I'll stay with him here shortly on the election headquarters.
The countdown to December 7th is on. The general election is about you, the people, and the real issue. The Imani Center for Policy and Education and your election headquarters bring you the minor political parties and independent candidates election debate live on Joy News, Joy 99.7 FM, and across our digital platform. Send your questions ahead to info@imanighana.org. Let your voices be heard. The minor political parties and independent candidates election debate is brought to you by the Imani Center for Policy and Education and your election headquarters.
So we are now 48 hours to go for that all-important, much-anticipated minority political parties and independent candidates presidential hopefuls debate. Of course, it's brought to you by Imani and Joy, the multimedia group, of course, giving its weight to this as well tonight. The focus is on Kofi Kranting. Now, if you don't know who he is, you certainly haven't been here for long, because he's a man who really puts some spanner in the works in terms of his ability to take on government officials. You certainly remember him. If you don't, let me give you something that may just remind you.
Nobody likes whiners. People that spend all their time whining all the time, I really get on people's nerves. So stop whining.
Really? Who travels 3,000 miles to be a whiner? We could have been whiners from our constituencies. We didn't need to come here. So this attitude has to change. If you want to engage us, then be serious about engaging us, because we're not here to play.
Well, I bet you do now. We all know who Kofi Kranting is. You remember this episode well, clearly. Well, he's hoping to become the president of the Republic of Ghana. Now, his main attribute, he says, is to use science and data to back every policy decision. He's been speaking to my colleague Daniel Dancy on the Pulse. Listen.
I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an advocate for what's right. I have an engineering background, so the way I process problems is different. everybody comes in with an attitude, we have a problem, we have to have a meeting, we have to have a committee formed, we want to get to it. First thing I do, faced with a problem, you take a look at the facts, you evaluate the facts, and you make a conclusive decision which way it needs to go. And it gives me an incredible edge in knowing systems also, how things ought to be in place. I know for a fact, if you were to count all the maybe hundreds of problems that you would say Ghana has, you will drive all these problems to one fact, that if our approach to it was a science-based, data-driven, human-centered consciousness in leadership, we will solve all these problems. But our 275 leaders in Parliament, NDC and MPP, likes to have a circus and not get to the problems. And that's why we're sitting here 28 years into the Fourth Republic. We're being looked at and laughed at by the whole world.
Right.
Sitting on a pot of cash, all these resources, and don't have the mental capacity to make the right decision to move this country forward.
But you just mentioned the voter ID registration. Have you registered?
It's going to be done. It's no problem, because once the Electoral Commission has made plans so that anybody who's coming into town can go into a regional office and get that done. So that's not an issue.
You do realize that there's a 50-day cutoff, that if you register within 50 days of the next election, you can't vote in that election?
I'm aware of that, and it's not going to happen, because we'll be at the debate in the next couple of days.
Great. Beyond that, how are you campaigning? You're in the U.S. and you're in Ghana. How are you campaigning?
Well, because of the COVID situation, you got to understand we are purely social media. But once we get into town, we're going to start combing the whole phase of the. Absolutely, we're not saying the job is done. We're saying that from what we've been able to do and the results that we see on social media, it's incredibly encouraging. And we're going to be able to cause serious damage with what we're experiencing. And we're happy with what we've been able to do.
So did you say you'll be in town for the debates, or you join us remotely?
We're hoping to be there live.
Kofi Kranting, and that clip you played of the whining incident, that is a clip, that's an action between himself and I think the Deputy Trade Minister. At that event with the diasporans, they had come down. It became such I remember doing it on Ghana Connect because of the big
and
matter.
And you spoke to Kofi
Kranting on the back of that. I mean, the way he stood up, to him. But of course, it's just 48 hours away.
And I look forward to
You're looking forward to it. Whether he is going to be here himself or is going to join us by Zoom, we make provision for that.
And interestingly, he hasn't registered just yet.
Well, he said he will. I mean, the Electoral Commission says that they're going to allow people who come back, to register. So, of course, we're seeing. But he's running a very interesting campaign on social media. He says it himself. I see him post a lot of his materials. You could see him put a 20-point agenda for himself that he circulates, etc., etc. So, very interesting to see what his views are on this matter when we get to interrogate it.
This Thursday, the 13th of August, the Imani Center for Policy and Education and your election headquarters bring you the Minority Political Parties and Independent Candidates Election Debate live from the University of Professional Studies Accra, UPSA, from 8 p.m. 6 independent candidates will walk home in a rigorous interrogation of their ideas. Marek Kopigan, Kofi Korante, S. Potori Ampopo, Carl Obemogan, Unipayade, Osumte, and Dr. Tom Asise will have their policy alternatives scrutinized, moderated by head of the Joy News Political Desk, Mensah, and Joy News anchor, Emefa Apawu, the Minority Political Parties and Independent Candidate Election Debate, live from 8 p.m. on Thursday, 13th August, from the UPSA, only on Joy 99.7 FM, Love 99.5 FM, on the Joy News channel, our affiliates across the country, online, and across our social media platforms.
And tonight, President Akufo-Addo has been touting his achievements in the health sector, citing the employment of over 90,000 health professionals July this year.
Now, according to him, his administration's record in the area of health is unmatched. He made this known when he cut sword for works to commence on the La General Hospital. Let's take a listen.
And we use this opportunity to reiterate the commitment of government towards ensuring that all our healthcare facilities across the country are staffed with well-trained and well-qualified personnel. Our record, that is the record of this government, to this end is unmatched. Upon my assumption of office in 2017, we started recruiting doctors, nurses, pharmacists, allied health professionals, and other support staff who were unemployed after completing their mandatory housemanship, rotation, or internship. Indeed, government each year has been providing financial clearance for those who are eligible to do their housemanship, rotation, and internship. As at July this year, government has recruited 90,696 permanent and temporary healthcare workers. Out of the total employed, 29,518 are temporary staff, whilst the remaining 61,178 are permanent staff. We express appreciation to the Chinese and English financiers and the Chinese contractor of this project. This is yet another sign of the bonds of collaboration and cooperation between our countries. I'm reassured by the declaration of the contractor's representative that this project will be delivered on schedule and it will be beautiful and functional.
So the president also cut sword for a 400-bed maternity and gynecology facility at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Now, speaking of that ceremony to break grounds for the project, the Health Minister, Kweku Agyeman disclosed that government will complete the construction of 11 health facilities across the country before the end of 2020. Now, he says the projects are part of government's efforts to bridge the gap in healthcare delivery in Ghana.
It is a record that the nation is losing over 1,200 people to kidney and urogenital diseases every year. Again, a lot of resources are sunk into flying people outside the shores of Ghana for treatment of acute nephrology cases, and it is only fair that this project is done and done very well to save lives and save resources of our country. So, Excellency, there is still a long way to go in achieving the desired specialist facilities that the country deserves. But government is not resting on its oars.
So that's the Health Minister, Kweku Agyeman, and my colleague Manuel Kranting has been busy today. He's been following the team from Kolebu to La General Hospital. He joins us in the studio. So let's talk about La General Hospital and what the president has been saying more. We've been telling us about his achievements in the health sector, which is unmatched. What more has he been saying?
And so earlier in March this year, the La General Hospital was closed down. In fact, the entire building has been torn down to make way for the re-erection of a new edifice that is going to serve as a new La General Hospital. It's valued actually at $52 million US, and is expected to be completed somewhere in 2022. And so generally these are the things that a few of the details there. It's going to be about a 164-bed facility, going to replace the former facility, which was 161. And so a number of ultra-modern facilities therein, including maternity ward and ICU and so on and so forth. So all these ones are going to be in the La General Hospital when it's done in 2022.
Well, thankfully you got to interact with some residents. You've been talking about the closure of the La General Hospital for some time now. What was their reaction?
Indeed, some of them have been saying that they've had to travel all the way to some other places. People mentioned the 37 Military Hospital and some other facilities across the Greater Accra region. And in fact, they are really elated that this facility is coming in to ease the pressure on them. In fact, there's this particular expression that one of the residents made that said that they frequently have some of the doctors and nurses running, in fact, bolting out of the former building, in an attempt to save their lives, because some of the beams and so on of the old facility, which the health minister says that had failed, a risk assessment test, were falling off, and so they had to fight for their lives. And so this one coming in, they say it's good news for them.
Thank you very much, Manuel Kranting there, giving us details of what the president has been up to.
Well, we're learning tonight of a joint operation by the military and the police currently underway to establish how hand grenades were stashed away at the Lab Beach. Explosives were identified after it injured 4 children. They were hit in following a blast at the beach. The children sustained several injuries when the explosion occurred. They were simply playing at the beach. PhD Nanaya Osafo has more.
The loud sound was heard by everyone in and around the community. The time was 11 a.m., 4th August 2020.
I hear the team blast as a explosion. Sorry, who just shot the gun like that?
Each person had their interpretation of what it meant.
The only thing I heard was like, boom! I was like, Lord of His mercy, what is happening?
Kofi Amwako, a mason returning from Usu, rushed to the scene.
It was bad. There was blood oozing from different body parts of these kids. The 7-year-old was the worst hit. Even in the hospital, they had to remove a lot of pellets from his back.
Kwadams is the father of all 4 children, with ages between 5 and 12.
Whoever is listening to me, please scan around and find out what is really happening in Salabad.
Well, the Accra Region Police Command, Ifiatingi, says the circumstances surrounding the whereabouts of the explosives are questionable, adding that they are exploring all possibilities to ensure public safety.
Seeing the reports of the incident that is on the field, so the police had to lead a team of investigators together with experts from the Ghana Armed Forces to the scene. And so it was established that it was a grenade. And we don't know how the object got on the shore of the Labi. As such, we are conducting investigations into it to ascertain how they got there. So that is why we are cautioning the general public. I think this education, we have done that in the past, we continue to do so. And so for the sake of public safety and for the need to remind all of us that this campaign we used to do in the past, let us still continue. That if we still see any object that we didn't know how these objects go to where we are or where we are citing them, it would be very good that we draw the attention of the police through our emergency line rather than handling them or touching them in any way that could end up injuring us.
The residents are calling for a thorough scan of their community. Has that been done?
Right from the report of the incident, we had to go to the scene with experts from the Criminal Investigations Department and also expect the ammunition disposal unit of the Ghana Armed Forces to do all the scanning.
I'm asking beyond the scene. They're asking for a wider, scan in the community, in the entire community. And I'm asking if that has been done.
The authority and the experts and whose work it is to find out whether these objects could be found in any part of the community. If they think that there's a need for them to do so, I believe that for the purpose of public safety, they will do so. For now, that is the information I have that they have done so, yes. But I don't know if they are going to extend it to the wider community.
All right, so beyond the education and the earlier scan that was done when this issue was reported, is there anything more being done to secure the area and pick up intel on the existence of such devices? Is there any?
Yes, and that is part of the investigative processes I have indicated. That in everything we need to do due diligence, we need to investigate thoroughly, we need to find out how they got there. Because we have known that our shores have been very safe and that people go there, making and all that. So if we are seeing something like this, it means that it calls for a broader interrogation or a broader investigation to find out whether indeed something is happening that we are not aware of.
That's a DSP, Ifiatingi. She speaks for the Accra Region Police Command.
Well, the former military officer, Ken Officer Sobaje, is calling for the exercise to be extended to other beaches, as he suggests it may be linked to terrorist operations. Let's bring in Professor Sobaje, who has been warning of the implications of this in the wake of the Boko Haram attacks in the sub-region.
Well, they are warlike material, they are war materials. You only use them in war. But let's remember that they can also be used by terrorists, for instance. And I think a year or two ago, we found, in fact, the type that we found in a hotel
somewhere in Accra is that type that, was found at the beach. So terrorists or their, affiliates could bring these weapons in order to, pursue their own agenda. They could also come from some of our neighboring states, particularly Cote d'Ivoire, which has been in conflict, and therefore they might have been smuggled into the country to cause, harm to the public. They could also be in transit, whatever that stock is, that they were brought in to be taken out of the country to some other place. So there are conflict areas around our borders. Burkina Faso is one, Niger is another, and even far away Nigeria, that is the Boko Haram enclave. So it's only the authorities, after investigation, who may come close to establishing where these grenades emanated from. All our beaches in Accra need to be seriously searched. And of course, we need to strengthen the investigation.
So that's a former military officer, Colonel Festus Abuaje. Let's bring in the chairman of the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament, Mr. Sete Champong. We're grateful for your time here on Newsnight. So what kind of briefing are you getting regarding this issue?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Just as the regional public affairs officer of the Ghana Police Service discussed with you, that is the level of investigation so far out there in the public. And like you know, public safety is a very serious subject and a matter which this administration takes with extreme caution. We, as we speak, have been in conversations with the ministers of the Interior and the National Security, as well as the Minister of Defense, because the experts of explosives are from the Ghana Armed Forces, as was told you earlier on. And Homeland Security has been manned by the Ghana Police Service. It's also at course. And there certainly we have to ensure that intelligence is high alert to pick up every signal that we get. So we are seriously in conversation. I'm sure we had some private conversations with the ministers today. We are hoping to have a full-blown skill committee meeting, hopefully in a couple of days, hopefully in the next 48 hours. And then our opinions will be really spelled out posted.
Well, we'll be following that meeting closely. Thank you so much for your time. That's the chairman of the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament, Seth Champong. We'll go for business, and I know George is also looking forward to that. Imani join you. It's a presidential debate coming up on Thursday. But Kofi Kranting, you recall that he's also the one that went to court on the ROPA issue.
Yes, and with Samson Ladayini as his
lawyer.
And they won the case.
Yeah,
they actually won the case at the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court forced the Electoral Commission to implement it. The Electoral Commission eventually had to go back and say that they needed more time to execute this. And so, yeah, that's not the only thing he's done, apparently.
He also came to Ghana to launch his campaign.
So that shows his commitment to this process.
Yesterday, Daniel said he was moving towards a book out. It looks like I'm also moving towards the
yeah, we need to get Daniel on tomorrow.
And then we'll see where he stands.
Yeah, see where he stands in this.
Let's do business now.
So who's that Texas billionaire here in Ghana, Ross Perot here in Ghana?
As in the race?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Ross Perot in Ghana here.
I mean, people used to think it was Dr. Papakwesi Ndu, but who knows? Maybe he'll come back on the PPP ticket. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, so I'm not going to rule him out just yet.
Or maybe on an independent ticket.
Well, he has his own political party. Why would he go on independent? That's an interesting one. Yeah, I mean, but that's a good question. I mean, that's a man who really gave the two parties in the US a good run for their money, but he dropped out eventually. But yeah, let's see. That's the sort of third force we need.
Well, coming up in business, Cocoa Board gets Finance Committee's clearance for Parliament's consideration of $1.3 billion syndicated loan facility, and government gives firm assurance of prudent expenditure for this year as some push for debt cancellation for the country over our rising debt levels. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all your office essentials. And First National Bank, we are the bank that understands your business. First National Bank, how can we help you?
So everyone says I'm a Crotia filler, but it's not like I'm nosy or go out to find out the latest filler. It's just that I get 50 megabytes of data free after paying for only the first minute of every call. And so I just keep discovering stuff minute after minute. That's how come I was minding my business, scrolling through my timeline, and I found out Coco has a new baby. Oh, and last week I learned Ken won the lottery. You see, Ken is my brother's friend. So hello, look who's about to roll with the rich and famous.
Enjoy even more value with MTN Free After One. You only pay for the first minute of your call on MTN Free After One, and the rest is free. Plus, you enjoy free 50 megabytes worth of data to browse your favorite sites. Compare where, compare there. So dial *315# to sign up. We day for you everywhere you go. Terms and conditions apply.
We give you nothing but the best, we stay above the rest. More quality, more affordability. Kingdom Books and Stationery. Everybody's going to the one and only shop where customer satisfaction is a guarantee. Kingdom Books and Stationery.
Oh yes, with our 30 days credit facility with no interest charge, free delivery services, and our free consultation on setting up your office, Kingdom Books and Stationery is unmatched in our delivery of quality and affordable office essentials, equipment, and furniture.
Experience world-class customer service in all our branches in Accra, Sama, Kumasi, Cape Coast, and Takoradi.
Call us on 0302-764-101
or visit our website at www.kingdomgh.com.
Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all office essentials and stationery. Terms and conditions apply.
Puma Drinks, ready to add flavor to your life? Puma Drinks, bursting with so many flavors, you just can't have enough.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, Cocoa Board has secured Parliament's Finance Committee's clearance for the whole House to consider the approval of its syndicated loan facility for cocoa purchases for the next crop season. This, however, needs the whole House approval before it can go ahead and raise the targeted $1.3 billion. We have more in the following Business Desk report.
According to the Finance Committee's report, Cocoa Board would first seek about 650 million cedis out of the targeted $1.3 billion. A fraction of this amount should hit the Bank of Ghana's account before October this year. Sources say the roadshow could be closed before the end of September this year. The report approved by the Finance Committee of Parliament showed the rest will be raised in February next year. It is also not clear for now what might be the reason for raising the funds in these two tranches, compared to the past when it was all done at once. Cocoa Board is hoping to use the funds to buy the cocoa beans from farmers through the licensed buying companies. In terms of the cost, Cocoa Board will pay a 1-month LIBOR of plus 1.75% per annum and a commitment fee of 0.62% and an upfront fee of 1.25%. Meanwhile, Cocoa Board is looking at 900,000 metric tons of cocoa beans in terms of production target for the next crop season. The funds coming in would not only be beneficial to the cocoa sector, but also the entire economy because of its impact on the city and the infrastructure needs of the country.
And that was a Business Desk report. Now, government has reaffirmed its commitment to be prudent with its expenditure for the next half of this year. Now, this is despite concerns of the country's rising debt stock and threatening expenditure level, resulting in calls for government to seek debt forgiveness. But Deputy Minister of Finance, Kukwuating, says they are committed to targeting this expenditure at areas that will stimulate growth.
We will be prudent, as I indicated on the floor. While we seek to spend to contain the pandemic and to protect our people, we are also conscious of the fact that we do not break the back of the economy so that the recovery will not be too painful for Ghanaians. And so we have been spending prudently.
Deputy Minister of Finance Kweku Kwarteng. Now, trade analyst Kusi Adumako says he disagrees with projection by Economist Intelligence Unit that the Africa Free Trade Pact will miss its takeoff date again. The African Union has set January 2021 as a new date to meet this target date. However, the London-based Economic Intelligence Unit believes that because of concerns with COVID-19, it's not likely that it will take off on 2021, that is late 2021. Mr. Adumako believes that Ghana and other countries will be ready for the January 2021 takeoff date.
I think Ghana is more than ready to start the agreement. You know, you can't be ready and 100%, but at least you've made some initial, more preparatory steps to be able to start trading. The others will learn and then pass things up as we go. I'm very hopeful Ghana will be able to start trading once the opening bell is sound.
The analyst Kusi Adumako. Now, insurance policy holders are being cautioned against the practice of not disclosing the actual amount of the assets that they want to actually insure. According to the Group Chief Executive of Holad, Ghana Pisantichano, this practice is actually affecting the industry. She spoke on a virtual platform on the topic, Better Future Through the Wealth Creation and Protection of Uncertain Times.
It beats my mind how somebody can buy a car for say 100,000 cedis and do third-party insurance and pay annually 300 cedis. Why would you do that when you don't know what will happen? We don't have crystal ball, so we don't know what will happen. And to say that, oh, I paid 5 years premium and nothing happened, so I won't pay the right premium. I don't think it's the right approach to life. So it doesn't make sense to try and cut back on insurance. Say instead of 7,000 for comprehensive insurance, you just pay 300 for third party. Ask yourself the question, for myself, for my car, for my house, for my jewelry, for my designer clothes, have I covered the things I've spent money investing in? And then make sure that you have adequate cover.
Group Chief Executive of Holad Ghana Patients Achiano, the virtual conference featured other speakers like the Group CEO of the Data Bank, Koja Diamonds, and the Senior Vice President of Business Development at NutriFoods Ghana, that is Media Akutu there. And that's all for business on Newsnet. And to the stock market in liver was down by 1 Ghana cedi 59 pesos and is now worth 12 Ghana cedis 59 pesos for farm milk. It was down slightly and it's now worth 1 Ghana cedi 30 pesos. And that's all for business on Newsnight.
George, our future president.
No.
Oh, you don't want to run for
No.
You know, George is afraid that he will possibly be part of a debate, that I will.
Or maybe the skeletons in his closet will
come out.
Not me.
Yeah, because I know a lot of skeletons in his closet.
No.
Never say never, George. No. Please.
Well, but for now, never.
I like that. So now you're reconsidering. You're changing the never.
For now, never.
You're qualifying the never.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to Teshi now.
Well, you had my people there, my people of Teshi, who poured onto the streets today, dancing and singing as they celebrate this year's Homowo Festival. Afi.
But it turned out it was chaotic when the crowd marched towards the Chief's Palace. They threw stones, they threw stones and glass, protesting what they believe is the Chief's decision to call off this year's festival.
Well, the Kpechi Divisional Police, they have arrested 10 people so far for breaching COVID-19 safety protocols and defying the orders of the traditional council. Now, according to some residents, the police team deployed dispersed the crowd using tear gas. However, there was some resistance from the people, leading to the arrest of 10.
They came in their numbers and started fighting. We know it's not limited to Teshi. There's a national protocol for celebration of festivals. So we have carried out the necessary Even the Korea Festival, which has a huge economic value, is not being celebrated. The money is also on hold, even in the we can fight with them, but we need peace.
Amefa Kusuwe we can fight to them. So we need peace. We don't allow them. We need borders in our road. We don't allow. We need borders. Control that borders.
We need government to create a barrier here and mount billboards with a message on COVID-19.
Kaji ameteme kumeni amenuko tose moni ba radio no kekpajiano he NGO no na mefio na gani NGO won pa kufado faake o soldier won to soldier.
We want the president to deploy the military here to enforce the restrictions.
Akufado, we beg you. We beg you, Akufado. Pictures.
Well, some residents are also calling on the president to ease the restrictions in order to allow them celebrate this year's festival. Here's why.
Please allow us to celebrate the festival. We may not be alive next year. Enough of the police brutality and the gunshots. It will soon be over, so just allow us.
We've always celebrated the Teshi festival. If they didn't want us to celebrate with a march, they shouldn't have started the rituals in the first place. It will really worry us if we are not allowed to celebrate. Even if it's under protection, it should happen.
Ni efio manga watasi mana nkwane ka onye wo fe da ekuku ya na anu na fie wo tuni papa ba tuni fio ni wo ba.
We couldn't work during the lockdown, so this is the time to make money. Today we've been hit by the police. Government should allow us.
Government. Now, the chief of Teshi, Becholo Ni Ashite Akomfra III, is appealing to his subjects to respect and obey the COVID-19 safety protocols and observe this year's Homawo as announced by the Traditional Council.
Wabebe ni akayafi afile aye wonye afile.
We should not be fighting, and I have not said we will not celebrate the festival. We will, but because of COVID-19, we cannot do things the same way.
No, what's a bo? Kunwe lo dubang. Mofiamo anatwi. Mofiamo ana ehomishe.
Next year, God willing, we can go all out if we have life and in good health. We should all be patient and not fight or do things that will invite the security agencies. Let's live in peace.
When you Dubai, Kelly Drumo, you will have you no, you go to Dubai. Don't man be fair. Me and Afi Gio, I can feel ya, now fit a banana war. What can the girl alone to be near about 14? Tell you go away, dear now. Tell Bobby Couture what they tell you, Bulle, what you knew. Tell you, Yeko, what new a Kodiano at the war. Wake tondole ke somo ga komi aishe mami koni won wasi wo tishake won wo de teshi wo man teshi wo yo wo be teshi e ko don wo teshi ko beto ni hilane akaba pata wo hie ni wo so na oni mi ko don no afia ya na afia ba na wo ni wala pa fi wo no ta le ma ye jwa do
Chwa umanyaba yao.
Like I know.
Benedict.
Is your wife girl?
Okay, what's this for?
You Mega. All right, Mega. Yes, sports. My present sports.
Benedict sports, please.
Oh, my present sports.
No.
Okay, so
what's that? What do you have in there?
All right, okay, so the latest person to speak on the appointment of the Naya Mponsa as Kumasi Asante Kotoko CEO is Hartlefolk MD Frederick Moore. Now he has wished Naya Mponsa well, although he says Kotoko matters are not important to him.
I don't worry about what Kotoko does. I wish Nanaya, I know him personally. I wish him all the best. And I wish him strength and grace to do as well, because if Hasa Lungu's up there and everybody is down there, Ghana football will be the worst for it.
Frederick Moore of Accra Hartlefolk. You hear more from him on tomorrow's edition of the Joy Sports Center. Now, Samuel Tete has joined Major League Soccer side New York Red Bulls on loan. Now, the 24-year-old moves to the United States from Austrian side, that's Red Bull Salzburg, for the 2020 season. And New York Red Bulls have the option of making the deal permanent. Also, Hartlefolk goalkeeper Richard Atta has signed a 3-year contract extension. His current deal now will expire in 2023. Well, last night Manchester United laboured to beat Copenhagen by a goal to 0 to reach the next stage of the UEFA Europa League. Well, tonight we've got some other games to look forward to. Shakhtar Donetsk, they're up against Basel, with Wolverhampton Wanderers also up against Sevilla. That's your sports.
Thank you very much, Benedict. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Now, some parents are tonight asking government to postpone the reopening of schools until 2021.
Well, their plea come after the Ghana National Association of Private Schools on Monday pushed for the reopening of basic schools across the country, arguing the signs informing government's easing of restrictions and the partial reopening of secondary and tertiary schools backs their call. Well, today, Nancy Emefa Jadosi visited NEMA, engaged students and parents on whether they want schools to reopen fully, and it's come through with this report.
Ali Masalifu is up early. She's still used to the routine of waking up her children early in the morning, bathing and dressing them up, but this time not for school. Though she says it is difficult combining work and taking care of her 3 children at home, she will rather endure that and take them back to school during this pandemic. Alima shares the same compound with Mariam Issa. She has no children, but she takes care of her 2 nieces. She tells me she is very concerned about the coronavirus.
If the sickness is truly around, please, I don't advise for the children to go back to school. It's truly risky, so maybe next year.
Eben, a father, was indifferent. He was willing to take his children to school when government allows it.
Everything is going to be okay and school gets reopened soon. I don't have any problem with that too. Maybe the government knows why he's reopening the school, so I'm also with him.
With her 6-month-old baby, Hamdia Muntala stepped out of her room. She wants school reopened, especially because she's a private school teacher who has not received salary for some months.
For 6 months now, no work. I don't have anything to do. So since government, we can go to markets, we can go to other places. We can even sit in church for food. So what shows we can go to school? So far as government can supply PPEs to students, we are eager to go to school.
As we delved deeper into the discussion, Eben changed his mind.
First of all, we don't know how the virus will attack or affect our children in kindergarten and nursery. Now these people, you can't control them. You can't say that, oh, practice social distancing. You can't tell them that, oh, nose mask. They'll even exchange nose masks with their friends. So, as a parent in that situation, you think that even if they open schools, nursery and kindergarten should be open?
If possible, the school should be reopened by next year.
After my interview with the parents, 3 young girls stepped out of Hamdia's room, and we could not resist the idea of picking their thoughts on the subject. First was Khadija Muntala. She says she wants to return to the classroom as she's unable to study.
We are lagging behind.
Okay.
Some of us have forgotten what they have teach us. So I want to go back to school.
Najad is a Form 2 Green Track student of the Accra Girls High School, who says she has been idle at home.
I'm ready to go because we are lacking. And we being in the house, we don't really learn. We sometimes learn and sometimes we just watch television. So I want us to go to school.
For Hafsa Muntala, she misses her friends at school.
I miss my friends because I want to go to school.
So which of your friends do you miss in school?
The ball now is in the courts of government. All stakeholders are waiting for the next line of action. Will schools be opened or not?
Well, the Ghana National Association of Teachers, they are asking government to only reopen schools after a thorough assessment of the current pilot project. General Secretary Thomas Musa says until all the loopholes in the current systems are sealed, schools cannot resume for operations.
And to my favorite part of the bulletin now, it's time for Spotlight. And it's been years since she dropped her critical acclaimed song, Sweet You, which, that used to be one of my favorite, actually. She earned her spot on Ghana's musical charts. I'm talking about Raquel, by the way, who was once very vibrant in the music industry, went on the break and has since left her fans asking for her whereabouts, including myself, by the way. And so I'm happy that she is on Spotlight tonight.
Raquel Na Ayoko Ama, known by stage name Raquel, is a Ghanaian musician, composer, choreographer, actress, and scriptwriter. She is popularly known for her hit song Sweet You, which featured Sarkodie. Raquel officially entered the music scene in 2005 and has since shared the same stage with acts like Mario, Movado, Sarkodie, Trigmatic, Chiame Kwame, Stephanie Benson.
How many years has it been? It's been some years. Been in this industry since, let me see if I can remember. Reggie Roxton will remember because I met him when I was about 15 years old in London.
Raquel, who was vibrant and active, had been quiet for some time now. According to her, she took a break to focus on education, family, health, and business.
When I started out, I was very young and funky, and I wanted to just do everything and anything. I was just doing all kinds of music, and at a point where I said to myself, what are you doing? Is this what you really want to do with the Afro pop music? And it's wonderful, and you have the fans, you have the following, people love you, but is this what you really want to do? And I realized this is not what I want to do. If I want to represent for Ghana, I want to do it in a different way. Why can't we have another Whitney Houston or another Mariah Carey or Celine Dion? I want to be that.
In early 2017, she announced she was back with a song with rapper EL, but since then has remained quiet in the industry. In 2012, Raquel won the Best Female Artist at the YFM All Star Weekend Awards.
And now you want it back.
At this point, I just want to sing for you.
Oh, you should.
Sweet you, sweetie, sweetie you, sweetie. It's not for you. Kobe,
oh.
Is it for me? It's for you. What's coming up on the Geek Squad?
Yeah, so today, have you know what art is? Art has been a part of our lives since humanity, since man, and it's evolving. And now technology is turning art around. So today we're going to talk about digital art, the revolution of art.
Look forward to it.
Yeah.
Do stay.